Brothers, I don't know if this bill from Republicans is actually going to pass, but it's actually really encouraging. And it is a massive, massive W that they're even pushing this forward. So here it is. Republicans push bill to hold judges accountable for releasing violent repeat criminals. Amazing. Yes, 100%. These judges and these DAs and these people in positions of power should be arrested and should be charged for things like this. This was one of the most easily avoidable things. Despite what Hassan Piker said on his stream about nothing could have avoided this guy was a 14-time repeat offender. He was out on bail, cashless bail. And Hassan says that there's nothing that could have been done to avoid this. How about no cashless bail? How about don't let this guy out on the street? Because this guy shouldn't have been out on bail. When you have 14 convictions, when you have 14 crimes to your name, you should not just be immediately let out to go and commit crimes against other people. And absolutely hold every single one of the Democrats in this city accountable. And make the punishments so extreme, so radical, that any other Democrat that thinks about playing these games with innocent American human lives, that they will never even approach the topic. You need to make the consequence so odious, so draconian, that anytime one of these people pops their head up to say, hey, maybe we should allow more violent extremists on the streets, that everyone else in the Democrat Party says, shut the fuck up, you're going to get us in trouble. That should be the way that the Democrats operate, is out of fear. Fear that their so-called good intentions are going to get them in trouble because they're not good intentions. These people allow real evil and real harm to happen to innocent people on a daily basis, and it is the working man and woman that has to unfortunately pay the price for that. It's not Hassan Piker, who lives in a gated community. Hassan lives in a mansion. Hassan has people that are security. Hassan lives in this isolated bubble where he never has to deal with the consequences of his so-called empathy and good intentions. They're not empathetic. It's just pathetic. He's a narcissist. But here's what it says. Republican Rep Randy Fine is calling for judges to face consequences if violent repeat offenders they release go on to commit new crimes. Absolutely fair. Holding people responsible for the consequences of their actions is common sense. And Elon Musk coming out here with the 100% based Elon. Thank you, Elon, for reposting this. Thank you, Elon, for broadcasting this. 15 million views. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, that'll be it for another time. Fair. Holding people responsible for their consequences of their own actions. Absolutely. These leftist judges that have just inexcusably put their personal politics above the law, above innocent people's lives, these people should be held to account, and so should the politicians. I don't think holding the judges accountable is enough. I think you need to go further. I think that you need to start arresting Democrat politicians, or if there are Republican politicians that are pushing this same stuff, arrest them too. I'm not talking about this from any sort of real partisan, political perspective, where no, Republicans can do no wrong. No, if Republicans in blue cities and states agree with this shit, arrest them too. If Republican judges do this, arrest them too. At the end of the day, what should matter more than politics is the lives of these people. The lives of these people should matter more than anything else. And when you have these nevrons running around that have a rap sheet a mile long, just like George Floyd, this whole thing would have been avoided if he had been in jail where he belonged. And by the way, I just want to say in relation to this, The Charlotte stabbing. I agree with Matt Walsh. He actually said something that was, I think, one of the most base things that he's ever said. This is probably one of the most base things he's ever said. But he said that, yeah. Here, let me pull it up. Let me just pull it up. Just in, Matt Walsh called the black man stabbing a white woman in Charlotte a greater outrage than the death of every BLM martyr combined times 1,000. He's right. He's absolutely right. 1,000,000% right. He has never been more right on any topic, and that's crazy because usually, usually Matt Walsh gives these sort of like, sometimes he gives edgy takes, but they're sort of off the mark a little bit. But no, he's been rock solid on this. The useless mayor of Charlotte cannot bring herself to condemn the man who stabbed the woman on the light rail. But hey, at least she's thinking hard about what safety looks like. Yes, keep thinking, V. Maybe that'll fix it. So it says the video of the heartbreaking attack that took Irina Zarutska's life is now public. I want to thank our media partners and our community members who have chosen not to repost or share the footage out of respect for her family. No, that's not why. that's not why. You don't want it shown because it makes you look bad. It makes you look really bad. This was a senseless and tragic loss. My prayers remain with her loved ones. Your prayers? You're in charge. What about your actions? What about your actions? A 14-time repeat offender was out on cashless bail in your city. This death is also on your hands because this guy shouldn't have been out. He shouldn't have been out. As they continue to grieve through this unimaginable time, like many of you, I'm heartbroken, and I've been thinking hard about what safety looks like in our city. I remain committed to doing all we can to protect our residents and ensure Charlotte is a place where everyone feels safe. Well, no one feels safe now. You've got Nevrons running around. You cashless bail? Really? No, you should resign. If not resignation, you should be thrown in jail. I've been thinking hard about what safety really looks like in our city. He had been arrested 14 times. Maybe criminals should go to jail. Give me that. I've been thinking about hard. Yeah, these people on the left are just animals. They do not have the cognitive faculties or the honor or integrity to really deal with these problems. Everything is about their vanity and the way that they look and the way that they feel, not actually protecting innocent people. This girl should be alive today. She should be alive today if that fucking Nevron were in a cage for the rest of his life. That's the reality. You sound more angry towards people sharing the footage than you are towards the violent thug who stabbed Irina. Bizarre. You're so full of shit. Your DEI policies directly caused this, you clown. He was arrested 14 times and should have never been on the streets. Why are you not able to condemn the stabber? We are reposting the shit out of it so everybody knows that it's your soft on crime policies that caused this murder. You're just as guilty as DeCarlos Brown, along with Judge Roy Wiggins and Magistrate Teresa Stokes. I mean, yeah, it's perfectly valid to call this stuff out. These people have caused this problem. Has the killer been arrested and not released? Had the killer been arrested and not released? He was arrested, 14 times. Yeah, it's crazy. He had been arrested 14 times. This was him. This animal should have been in jail for the rest of his life. Everybody watch this video and retweet it over and over until suicidal empathy shitheads like the mayor are driven from power. It's the only way. Based. Instead of keeping your constituents safe, this has been your priority. And now we see the result, a homicide rate that jumped 40% last year. Task Force for Racial Equity and Criminal Justice. Get this fat, obnoxious bitch in jail. People like her should be in jail. They should be removed from power, removed from society, and made to actually contribute to the public good. It's a shame that 90% of blacks make 10% of blacks. Okay, that's kind of funny. I've been thinking hard about what safety looks like in our city is one of the most brain dead political nothing burgers I've ever heard from an official following a tragedy. You don't know what to say because your party doesn't allow you to acknowledge the truth. So sad. Thanking left-wing media for conspiring with you to hide violent crime victims and downplay your crime is one approach. Jeremy Griggs, Jeremy Prime. Let's see. Interesting how you couldn't just say violent racist attack where a black man attacked and murdered a white woman simply because of the color of her skin. Yep. Yeah, no, of course she's not going to say that. Of course she's not going to say that. No, of course not. That would be admitting defeat in a culture battle that they're just not going to accept. Yeah, this is evil. What we're witnessing is evil. Let's see, 2007 to 2014. Juvenile in early years, Brown's criminal record began as early as 2007 when he was still a minor. Over this period, he was arrested at least 6 times for crimes including felony larceny, robbery with a dangerous weapon, communicating threats. Most of these charges were repeatedly dropped, according to the Charlotte Observer. 2014, armed robbery conviction. Brown was convicted of armed robbery and served approximately 5 years in prison. He was released September 2020. February 2021, assault and property crimes. Shortly after his release, Brown was arrested for assault on a female, specifically his sister, resulting in minor injuries, injury to personal property, and trespassing after returning to a residence where he was banned and damaged the front door. July 2022, domestic disturbance. Arrested for disorderly conduct due to yelling and cursing, causing a disturbance and drawing attention from multiple tenants at the property. January 2025, misuse of the 911 system. Brown was arrested for misusing the 911 system after claiming somebody had given him a man-made material, controlling his actions, eating, walking, talking. He was released without bond. Why? A public defender later questioned his mental capacity to stand trial, and a forensics evaluation was ordered but not completed. Yeah, this guy should have been in a cell. This guy should have been in a cell. Took him in his. You mean the attack? You mean the attack that killed the attacker that killed her? Are blacks drastically overrepresented in car break-ins, thefts, and burglaries? Yes or no? All right. Are whites? No. Okay. We know what allowed this murder. Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah, it's so evil that this sort of stuff happens because of this suicidal empathy, this radical perspective that somebody's life is less important than how a person feels. How do we make a person feel? This sort of person in power should be in jail. They should be arrested. They should be put in prison. This guy who did this should be publicly executed. And I think that the fact that we have all of these different situations where this sort of stuff happens, I'm like, let me show you one more. Like I brought this up before, but it's like, look at this. Yeah, just another incident, and the fact is, these are racking up. Nobody's talking about Austin Metcalf anymore. Nobody's talking about Carmelo Anthony. How many more incidents? And by the way, the black community doesn't give a shit. The black community could not care less. In fact, I'm surprised that these people haven't tried to make a GoFundMe for them like they did with Carmelo Anthony. Raised $500,000. Which, by the way, was hilarious because the family took the money, spent it, and now has to get a public defender. Anyway. Brothers, I want to thank you for watching the channel. I want to thank you for supporting. I'll see you next time.